Just be comfortable. You're amongst friends.
We're live?
Yep, go for it.
All right. Hello, Jersey Shore. Welcome to another episode of Boardwalk Talk, where we highlight local businesses, foundations, artists, and we hear their stories about their road to success and what it takes to get there. We have our host, Deb Jacobson. You can follow her on Instagram at summer950172.
Yeah, I'm changing that.
Yeah, so look out for the update. Yeah. I don't think she knows what it is.
Yeah.
I just told her. We have we've got our man Gons Wesley. You can follow him on Instagram, and I don't think he's changing this. WGI 3D Media. And you got me, Mikey T, Michael Timpani. You can follow me on Instagram at the Home Advisor Pro. And please follow our show on Facebook at Boardwalk Talk NJ. You could go right to our link, boardwalktalk.live, and search us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. So today we have an exciting
I'm gonna try not to get rid
show.
of mine. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try and keep it as long as I possibly
you better. This is like permanent in the archives because this is our inaugural show, and
no pressure.
no pressure at all.
Pressure at all.
We are so blessed to have Slyvia from the Asbury Chamber of Commerce. She's the executive director of the Asbury Chamber, and she also serves on the NJ Board of Education. I'm sure that's a thankless job also. And it's so exciting because we started this show to highlight and focus on local businesses, artists, and there's nothing that speaks to local businesses more than the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Thank you so much for saying
No, it is.
No, you do a great job.
Oh, yeah.
I have the easiest job in the world, being the director of the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce.
You have great involvement, right?
There's just there's everything there. It's the art, the music, the people, the businesses. It's a very
fun.
It's a great thing to have to wake up every day and go do.
Goodness.
That is
Every
awesome.
day is something new.
That's right.
And it's a great local chamber. It's a large local chamber. And Sylvia's involved with just about everything in town. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't even know exactly what the Chamber of Commerce is. They just know that they come to an event in Asbury Park and it was thrown by somebody. So I think the first question I'd like to ask is, could you just give an overview of what a Chamber of Commerce is so anybody listening, they're like, oh, okay, now I understand what that all means when they see the little sign on the door.
You hit it right on that. Nobody knows what a Chamber of Commerce is. We're fairly eclectic. By definition, we're a private membership nonprofit, but not a 501c3 that's charitable. So that's the good kind. We're a 501c6, so you don't get to deduct anything if you donate anything to us. However, Asbury Parks Chamber is a little bit more, what I like to call us a hybrid. We're not a traditional model. Chambers as a whole, their job is to help promote merchants and consumerism. In Asbury Park, we're also a tourism town, so we try to bridge the gap a little bit because there is not a tourism department per se, but we work very, very closely with the municipality and try to work kind of like a tapestry. And if you know Asbury Park at all, it's the whole thing is a tapestry.
Definitely.
The residents are business owners, and it's just a very unique family atmosphere. But I'm going to now circle back to your actual question. And sometimes it's easier for me to explain what we are by explaining what we aren't. We're not an actual part of the municipality. We are funded through our own events like Oyster Fest. I think you worked at. Thank you very much for working at our Oyster Fest.
And we haven't been
Deb
this year.
Deb asked me, she was running the, for people for some background, Deb was the financial coordinator.
Helped with
she's
that?
my treasurer.
She was the treasurer. She's the treasurer.
She's my
of the-
boss.
She's the
actually.
treasurer of the
How awesome
chamber.
is that?
But you weren't back then. You were just helping out,
Helping
I think.
out.
And Kearney Bank was in charge of collecting the receipts, and Deb asked me to come over and help collect receipts.
And your wife came, and you guys enjoyed all the festivities afterwards, right?
Yes, yes, the festivities were excellent. This a quintessential part of what you do at the chamber. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And I ordered better weather for this year's
Yes.
Oyster Fest.
It held out
It's
for a long time.
Yep, right up until Sunday. But this year I put in my request in advance, so we'll get 3 great days. But so
Are
we
you asking
are
for
again.
prayers?
Yeah, yes, we'll form a little prayer chain here.
Okay. That's
Grab
no
hands. We're not a part of the municipality. We can't tell you when Bruce is in town. Let's get that off. These
He always
are
pops up
actual-
somewhere.
Yeah, these are actual questions.
That's
I get.
our next guest.
Yeah, we get. We'll get questions. I can't find a spot. I'm driving around right now. Can you tell me where I can find a spot?
Oh wow.
I can't.
Interesting.
If I can though, I will run out and stand in one and hold it
And
for
wait
you.
for you.
I will absolutely. And we
Helpful.
do get phone calls from people saying I'll be in town on December 4th at 7:30. Can you tell me where I'll find Bruce? I don't know. That I don't know. But I can tell you we're a referral service. If you're looking for a hotel in town, I can tell you all the different properties that we have and the atmospheres in them. What's going on in Asbury over the next week, month, year. We have a calendar resource for people. We do a lot of networking. A lot of people try It's a very hot market in Asbury, so whether you are a business in Asbury or just want to be involved in that market, people will come to the chamber and join, or just come to our networking events. We try to advise consumers and come up with new and exciting ways to encourage them to come down. And in addition to the ocean, because we have an ocean, and, which is a really awesome ocean. We just won Best Beach in Monmouth
I
County
know, that's
Friday.
awesome. Yay!
3rd year in a row.
That's
I've
great.
got all the awards on my wall.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's really
That's awesome.
exciting.
But
But
you
in
have the
addition, we've
best
got a
of-
ton of
you-
other stuff
You
all
have
year.
the cream of the crop of business owners
We do.
connected to the chamber. So if you want to get connected, what better place to try and get connected than the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce?
And I don't think
'cause-
people realize that it's a referral service as well. So when you
Yes.
join, if somebody's calling and saying, hey, I'm looking for a realtor or I'm looking for a marketing company, that's a referral service as well. So that's a
Yes.
real benefit of being a member.
It's kind of a
All
stamp
that,
yeah.
of I don't know. Is it a stamp of integrity? Is it a stamp of trust?
I like to think so. I like to
that you
'cause-
can trust
yep.
the companies that have a part of the chamber.
Yeah, when people call our office, we'll always certainly refer our members, and we know most, and some very closely, like Debbie. I can say if you're looking for a bank, you know, my treasurer, she's at Kearney Bank, and she's magnificent. And I say that not just because, again, my boss, or because
I don't know about that.
but she is awesome, and like you
Thank
said, we do have we have a lot of involvement from our business owners. We've got Debbie, for instance, Oyster Fest, 3 solid days just counting numbers. We've got some of our my first vice president works for Madison Marquette, which is a very large. They're not a developer, but they do tenant landlord on the Boardwalk. It's all the businesses, and he will be at Oyster Fest selling T-shirts for me. They're that, and arguably the busiest man in Asbury Park, and he is just really committed. And then you have your smaller businesses, your owner-operated. For instance, Jackie Sharp of Purple Glaze.
Purple
She's
Glaze.
at everything. Best donuts, by the way. anywhere.
Delicious.
And yeah,
Okay.
right here on my.
And she also does a scholarship
Yeah,
for the
she does,
Asbury
yeah.
High School, which I was really impressed with. Her and her husband, I
Yep,
believe, do a
yep.
scholarship, and I think that's great because they give back to the community
Yep.
as
Oh, my
well. So
goodness, yes.
it's great to support your local business. So if you haven't
Mm-hmm.
tried them, go try them.
Oh, absolutely. And that's another thing about Asbury. The tapestry there is, it's so involved in not just commerce and consumerism, but it's a very cause-driven environment. If there is any injustice any place, you will see a parade down Cookman Avenue, and it will be led by what I think is the best governing body, our mayor, deputy mayor, and council. They will be leading the parade. There is nothing that goes unchampioned. It's a very it's a unique community in that way. And again, we don't follow a traditional model of networking, which certainly the other chambers, that's a great model. It's the way it's been always. But being a beach community and being Asbury Park, we like to consider ourselves a social chamber.
And it is as well.
It is. It's a social chamber.
Yeah.
It's a great
Oh,
chamber
yeah.
to be involved in. I love it. I met so many great people, and the involvement, everything we do, all the events, which Sylvia is going to talk about, that are thrown throughout the year. It's just amazing.
And
really
a
is.
lot of people don't know that these networking events that we go to, it's not all about this, going and drinking and all that kind of stuff. Because I don't even drink when I go to these events. But there's always a charity associated with the event. So the money that you spend while you're there on, and the gifts that you bring, people buy tickets to these what are they called, Chinese raffles or something,
Oh, silent
Tricky tray.
auctions. stuff
silent
like that.
auctions. Well, it goes to a good cause and different causes. Each one is championing someone different, some group different, some different group.
Absolutely.
And it's a worthwhile way to spend your time helping someone else that you don't know, and meeting people that you can grow with. So
And that's what it's all about. You meet some great people. I mean, I've been networking for almost 2 years now, through different chamber events, and I can tell you, I met so many awesome people. I met Ganj through networking. I met
Yes, we
Mike
did.
through
Yeah.
Ganj through networking. Just a ton of people, and everybody has a common interest for everybody else's success, and
Absolutely.
also all over the
Yes.
community.
So, Sylvia, how long have you been the executive director?
Let's see.
The Asbury
It'll
Chamber.
be 3 years this August.
Oh, wow.
3 years this August.
Time flies, right?
That it does.
Zoom.
It's been. I got to Asbury and knew very few people, although I'm lifelong Jersey Shore and I live like 4 steps outside of
Right.
Asbury
Yeah.
Park. I certainly knew the businesses, and that's where I go. I don't even actually know where else to go. But I really, and that was before I got here. And I came into the community, and the nonprofits, the business owners, the residents, the governing body, everybody down at the municipality were just so welcoming, and they bring you into the family, and you just want to do things. And
That's
my
true, yeah.
board, that first year, unfortunately, about a week after I started, the president of my board, who had just hired me, he passed away suddenly.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
interestingly, the last conversation we had was about public schooling, because at that point I was sitting on my local school board in Ocean Township before I had gotten appointed to the state, and he was telling me about his fondness for public schooling and the trend for going into college or career, and entrepreneurship is so huge in Asbury Park. And so he passed away right after that conversation a couple of days later, and so I wanted to do something meaningful to remember Roy Wirtz by, and my board let me create the Roy Wirtz Memorial Scholarship. And so we have been now raising funds. I had said this year we're going to fund it ourselves, but I promise always. So I did a dunk tank, and we got every politician who was running for anything that year came to Oyster Fest and was dunked. And that water was not clean, and it was not warm, and they did it anyway. And we started off with one scholarship that year, and we've grown now to being able to distribute 3 scholarships to Asbury Park High School students, and it's my hope that we'll be able to get that up to 5 and eventually maybe 10. And that's kind of the uniqueness of the community that I work in. It's not just about your own dollars and cents. It's about doing what's right and doing what's good, and the whole ship gets lifted.
Yes.
And that's kind of the personality that I love it there.
And seeing the kids too, I was at the scholarship awards this year, and with Sylvia was there as well,
And you
and I gave a
the
scholarship
yep.
through the bank, and just seeing the recipients, they are just what they do. You know
Well,
what I mean?
you run a program too for the kids.
The financial literacy.
Yes.
Yeah, so we
That's a
support
great
Asbury Park
program.
High School financial literacy. So I got to meet a lot of the kids who went through that program, which is also great because, when I was going through high school, even in college, there was no financial literacy. You can get yourself in big trouble, especially with credit cards and whatnot. Yeah.
Yes.
So be able to
That
give
was
that
a lesson.
education, yeah.
Because they go after the kids as soon as they,
Yep.
they
They do,
graduate.
yeah.
That credit
Like my
card,
son,
credit
he's
card,
already
credit card.
gotten like 3 credit card offers and some other kind of loan offer. He's he's going to college next year. But
is
right
awesome.
now,
Oh, congratulations.
he's just 18.
He's going to the Mount.
Yeah,
That's
he's going to Mount St. Mary's. He's going
Congratulations.
to
Gons and
it's
his
gonna
wife
be
went there?
A double
Oh,
legacy.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
going to be a double legacy. We just went to orientation. I tell you, there's a lot of alumni out here on the shore, and I'm from Baltimore. I'm a transplant, but a lot of my friends I got from college. They live here in Jersey too, so. It's
Baltimore's a great place to have. My son lives in Baltimore.
Does he?
He actually just graduated from Hopkins last month, and
awesome.
he loves that
the-
environment there. So he's staying, and I guess
Is he?
I'll raise my grandchildren one day on Facebook.
Oh,
But he's
right.
going to do.
You'll make the
But
trip
it's
down there.
summers at the shore.
He's going to do
though.
great
Summers
things.
At the shore.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the kids can have summers at the shore though. So I look forward to
Fingers
that.
crossed.
I just when we were talking before, it came across my mind about Lake House Studios and how they do a lot in the community for education as well, and they have a bus that they take around to the local schools, and they help children learn music engineering and the business side of music, and not just I want to be a pop star, and they do a lot of different programs that you should really take a look into Lake House Studios and see what they're doing. It's just they need our support as well.
Absolutely. My
And,
stepson works there. As well.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
It's a family
It
affair.
is, and that bus is it's
Ryan.
across. They just moved in kind of across and diagonal from me, so I see it every morning.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
It's in
okay.
action.
I love that.
Yes,
I love that
yes,
bus.
Yeah.
But like you
yes.
said, they do outreach. They bring the information out to the kids, and that is just such an Asbury thing. If you can't
I
come to
know.
us, we're coming to you, but we are making sure that you get what you need to succeed.
Yes.
And planting the seed.
And I
Kids
told
don't
Ryan,
realize maybe
I told him,
they're
I did a
they're
tour
fabulous there.
a little while ago, a couple months ago, and I'm going to do a virtual tour of that bus. I already told them I'm going to try and do a virtual tour of that bus so people can come in and look inside and see what they're sponsoring.
Tell me when you're there. I'll bring you
Yeah.
coffee. I'm across the street.
Okay, I will. Yeah, I
they're
think that would be
amazing.
important to them.
It's such a great school.
A good asset that I could probably give to them, and that I would be happy to do that very much so. So,
Cool.
Just so you
Nice
know,
guy you are. You are.
He's all
He
right.
is. He's a
You
good
are.
guy.
Don't blow up his head too much.
well, I mean,
Trying to get him to come back to Oyster Fest
Yeah.
this year.
Oh,
He's
he
got,
a
already
lot
got
of
him
work.
signed
he's
up.
got no choice.
I have no choice.
Debbie's hard to say no to. She's like the
It was a
nicest
lot of
person in
fun
the world.
work.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
it.
It was
Fun work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was hard work for you guys. That's
It was actually fun though. I mean, you said like 3 days, but the
I
3
love
days
her.
went fast because it was a good time.
I only did.
Yeah.
I think I only did one day.
Yeah.
I only did one
Well,
day.
I think I got you for 2 more this time.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
see.
Okay.
I don't know. We have this on tape.
I know, right? So, okay. It'd
But
be
I
my
guess,
pleasure.
did you want to talk about some of the events that are going on through the chamber that people can
sure.
attend? Okay.
Absolutely. Well, we have events that we do, and then we have events that members do and other organizations, and we certainly try to promote everything. There is, if you're looking for something to do and you can't find it in Asbury, then you must have your eyes closed. But even if your eyes are closed, you can hear it.
Exactly.
You can feel it. So our events, major events of our own that we run are Oyster Fest, like we were talking about. That is always the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after Labor Day. It's a way to extend the season and also remind people that we are not just Asbury Park in the summer. We are Asbury all year, which is the website I bought, Asbury all year, which goes right to the chamber website.
Nice.
So we have that in September. We
And
do
great food too. So. Local
Great
vendors,
food, yeah.
local vendors.
person-
We've got
yes.
crafters. We've got activities for the kids.
Yes.
We have
Games.
there are games. There's beer and wine there for the over 21 crowd. We give you a wristband.
Yes. That's why we were there.
Old enough to drink, smart enough not to drink and drive.
Right,
Yes.
I
right.
made that up and had it
Yes.
put on the wristbands. We have live local bands
That's
through
nice.
the entire festival. Friday night is our community night, so it's a free night to get in. And Saturday and Sunday, it's only $3, but we collect that to support our charity partner. This year it's Asbury Park Toy Drive. They run the carnival games that we have. Okay. And then we have them running the gate as well, and then they get a large part of those, all the proceeds from the games, and then part of the proceeds from the entry. And they work hard, and they are what a nonprofit that is. That Connie Breach, who happens to be also a police officer and on the Board of Education, and runs Asbury Park Toy Drive and
Very
Pugapalooza,
involved.
another event that nobody should ever miss. We have we do a restaurant tour that is the last Sunday in April, and it sells out at 1,500 people, and this year for the first time ever it actually sold out before the event. I didn't have a single one to sell that day, and that is a little bit different. Again, we're Asbury Park, we do everything a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's not a tasting where the restaurants all come into one big space. We do this in a different way. We have at least 25 restaurants, juiceries, coffee houses, other venues that serve food or drink. It's not an alcohol one, although a lot of the restaurants will have their bar open that day too. And you have 4 hours. You get a map. We have buses that circle the town. It's a self-guided tour, and you can hit all 25 to 30. I think this year we had 28 on the list. And you get to try something in some restaurants that maybe you didn't know were there. But the other thing, and this is part of what the chamber does, by taking everybody around the town to see all of the restaurants, you also then see, hey, there's a movie theater right on Cookman Avenue and a glass blowing place. You can literally walk in and blow glass. There is the Stone
Studios.
Pony, and obviously, and the Wonder Bar that certainly people love to at least drive by and say, I just saw the Stone Pony. Like that's
know where it
pretty
is now.
iconic, exactly.
Right.
And then our whole Main Street and the west side area, we take people all over, so you get to see our whole 1.5 square miles. It's so amazing to
I
me
know,
that
right? So jam-packed.
1.5 square miles and so much stuff to do.
And so
there.
much diversity in the stuff that
Which
you
is
do.
the beauty of it.
Yeah,
We
yep.
are a diverse, warm, welcoming community. I often say, we're Asbury Park, and you're welcome. Not as you're welcome, but you are welcome.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Oh, I like
is,
that. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out
I
how to
like
put
that.
that on a
You're
shirt.
good with that. Asbury all
Park
year,
and
and-
you're welcome. But I don't want it to sound cocky. 'Cause it's
Right.
not cocky.
Some people might take it.
You are welcome. Everybody is.
Right.
You will find the thing that you're looking for.
Spell it out.
Something for
That's all.
everyone. Yeah.
So,
And that's a
It
great. I
changes
love
the-
that
it
the
changes
fact
the
that there's
connotation.
a tour that you could take, a self-guided.
Yep.
You're getting the transportation. I know a lot of people that went on restaurant tour this year and tried out a lot of restaurants that they hadn't been to, and now they have their new favorites. And the good thing about it is that they're going into the environment.
that's the reason
They're
we
checking it
don't
out.
bring
Yeah.
everybody into one space. We have people come see your venue. You come inside, you grab a bite of something that's highlighting your menu, and the consumers now seeing the cool. Everything there is unique, and there may be things that you didn't know were down maybe a side street, and people come back and they're like, I had no idea of this place, or I wanted to go to that place, but I never made a reservation early enough to get in, and now
Right.
they've tried it and in the place, which is the nice thing, because your food obviously is probably going to be better right there than traveling with it, and people have now
Reheated.
seen your cool, awesome
Yeah.
spot.
All your
And then
decor
you
and
get
your
a chance
staff.
to digest a little bit as you
Right.
go to the next
Yep.
place to try something different. That's cool.
It's
That's
a
nice.
very cool place.
I
So,
think I
end of
could hit
April.
30 spots with no problem. I'm gonna have to take my own car though. I can't wait for that bus.
You'll get the map beforehand.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
this is
just-
our game plan.
Is there an early bird? Like
Oh, that's fun. That's a good idea. That's funny. We'll do a brunch.
exactly. I have to start early.
Oh my goodness.
It's like going to Disney, try to get all the rides. Can't
a
have
plan for
28
that.
spots and hit 10 of them. That'd be
Oh,
so
man.
disappointing. So,
That's funny.
what did you do before you were on the chamber?
I don't think there was a before I was on the chamber.
It's like life started at the chamber, right?
Yeah, exactly. I came right out of my cave and right over to the chamber. Actually, I have run nonprofits, but traditional nonprofits, and worked in marketing and finance my whole life. I went to college for psychology was my degree, but marketing was kind of my niche, so I went right into New York after that, and that was kind of cool for a hot minute, and then not so much anymore. So I came back here and I found my place in running nonprofits. I think that your life should leave the environment better than when you got there, and I try to do that in small ways by raising really good human beings, which I'm thankful that I have, and helping people who need it, and helping people who are afraid to ask for it. So that's what I've done all of my life. I worked for Family and Children's Service. I was working for the City of Ocean Township prior to moving into the Chamber of Commerce environment, and when they offered me that job, which was, I was actually kind of surprised. Everybody wanted it. And the first thing I said was, I'm not so sure that I'm what you're looking for. I'm not a Chamber of Commerce. This was kind of like I just sent it in thinking, I'll never get that. That's Asbury's like a really cool place. And,
Yeah.
and then the President Roy at that time, he said, you're exactly what we're looking for, because this town is it's humanitarian. It's not just about getting feet in and dollars in,
Yeah.
which of course it's, we need to do that. We have to, everybody's got to pay the
Everyone's
bills.
got to live and
It's all
pay their
part of the
bills.
Everybody's got to live.
tapestry.
But the philosophy was to be a tapestry, and I said, well, these are the things that I've done, and he said, that's the things that we want you to do. So then I told my kids, I just got that job, the one in Asbury Park, and I'm not nearly cool enough to be there. And
That's
and
not true.
instead of course saying, "Sure you are, Mom," they said, "Maybe nobody will notice."
Oh my God.
I'm like, yes. They are good human beings.
They are.
Actually, the oldest one is a police officer in Asbury Park now. So
excellent.
they are service people, but also
That's
pretty
great.
funny.
Yeah. Well, they got it from their mom.
Yeah, you raised them.
Yes.
I raised
Yes.
one. If
Yeah.
you do it right, then
The second
he
one.
raises the next one,
Yeah.
and the next
I'm trying
one.
that right now.
That's
great.
absolutely
I
do
don't
it
know.
right once.
I think I did it right, the
Yeah,
older
we-
one.
Yeah, you
I
gotta,
bet you
gotta
have.
do it right though.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
younger ones, maybe. So I don't know.
They are,
That's the
my-
only way we're gonna have good citizens.
absolutely.
Sure.
You know, if good citizens create more good citizens.
That's
and,
the thing. We're
and
very
that's what I've tried
service.
to do, and,
Yep.
and I am so proud. I don't even know how to put it in words at the accomplishments that my son has achieved right now. And you know, I could never imagine when he was little that he would be what he is right now. And
Well, they're supposed to
and,
stay little. Nobody
Yeah.
gave you permission to grow up.
Yeah.
so,
You
So
know,
fast,
look how
too.
proud you are. I love
you know,
this.
take the time out to pass yourself on to your children. You know, work is work, but you know you have that responsibility to create the best person that you can.
That's, I
And
guarantee
it's beautiful
you did.
watching it. It's beautiful watching it, and
Yeah.
yeah, you'll be amazed at yourself.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's, my husband we're a melded family, so he also has 3 kids and my 3 kids. So we've got
Like the Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
my
Yep, we
goodness.
are.
Yeah,
newfound Brady Bunch.
awesome.
He's a firefighter. He stepped out of. We went to high school together. He came out of high school, went right into the Long Branch Fire Department, and then on to the FDNY almost 25 years ago.
Wow.
He is probably the most service-oriented person I know. And if I can ever do like a drop of what he does, and if all of those kids get like an iota of what
Well, I'm
he
sure they
has,
did because you
Yeah,
guys you do a
definitely.
lot as well. So it's you know.
It's not just him.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yep. And it's nice that they see that because you said your oldest is police
Yeah, he's a
officer,
police
and they're all
officer.
service oriented.
Yeah, my son that went to Hopkins, the one that just graduated there, he went down for international entrepreneurship and then decided to stay and teach in an inner city school.
Oh wow.
So that
Wow.
they're just
Well, they definitely
good
need it in
people.
Baltimore,
Well, that's-
you know, and one of the reasons why we moved up here is not only that married my college sweetheart, but to schools. You know, he's gotten a great education on the shore. They have some of the best schools in New Jersey. So,
in New Jersey, some of the
In
best
public
in the
education.
country. I think we
Yes.
are consistently. We've come in the 2nd highest rating for public schooling in the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a fact not a lot of people know.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
We've got, we are by far not perfect, but we are working towards it every
Yes.
day.
Yes.
1.4 million children
Wow.
in this state that go to the public schools rely on that.
and these are facts from someone that's on the
Someone
New
who
Jersey,
knows.
Yeah,
Yes.
New Jersey Board of Education. So
I can't say that I contribute to
Yeah.
that at all, but
Yeah.
I'm really proud to be able to watch what the department does. They're
that's
really
awesome.
forward,
Yes.
and actually the commissioner of education right now was the superintendent of the school district in Asbury Park.
Oh wow.
Oh,
He a year and a half ago got appointed by the governor to be the new commissioner, and he's doing magnificent things. Really, it's just a joy to see.
That's great.
It's just a blessing.
yeah, textiles at work, right?
Absolutely.
So that's always a good thing to see.
Very cool.
So being in the chamber, coming in not from that field, what were some of the challenges that you hit doing that?
I didn't know anything.
You needed to
there's
find
I
out what a
was
Chamber of
just
Commerce
like,
was, right?
Yeah, so I Googled that, and I had only ever experienced traditional chambers.
Yeah.
Morning breakfasts and a little bit more buttoned up. Asbury is not that. So the first thing I did was I did what I called my walking tour, and I walked through, and thankfully it's a small town because I'm 54 years old. Anyway, and I figured the best way to learn what the business community needed was to ask them. And what are your challenges? Go into current members and see, what do you like? What do you not like? What would you like to see? Then go into former members or people who maybe, again, didn't really know what a chamber was and thought that it was part of the city, and asked, what do you think the needs are of the merchant community here? And I learned very, very quickly that it is it's easy to get an opinion in Asbury. It is,
Probably doesn't take much, right?
It does not, and they're valuable, and they know what I didn't, and they educated me, and I was lucky that I came in without any predisposition for thinking that I knew better. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And they were my teachers and my mentors, and we've tried to be responsive and try to do as much of the stuff that we can or try to at least maybe meld a little bit the things that we were already doing and make them better. We certainly, if something was a working chemistry, don't mess it up. But you can always make it a little tweak it there. And I got great ideas from people, and I found that what they really wanted was to be asked and to be listened to. Try to do everything that we can, and if we can't explain why one thing might not work, whether it's not something the law would allow, or there's governance, and so I can't do like stuff that is prohibited.
Yeah.
That's important to let
But
them know
it is,
why
it
if you
is.
can't.
And
yeah,
that's the
communication.
thing, is never to just I never just yes people. What I usually do is I'll say, that actually sounds like a really good deal. Let me find out if I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And if we can, and if it's feasible, we will. And we've started new things and changed things up a little bit. And we've gotten a great response. Our membership, there was an article maybe 6-7 months ago. It's at an all-time high.
In the coaster, right?
Historic,
Yep.
Historic high. And the nice thing is that it's a lot of the in-town businesses have either joined or rejoined the chamber.
That's great.
Which is good to have that mix of a lot of the in-town.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is, I think, is engagement. Your chamber really engages its membership.
That's what
Very
it is.
engaged,
And
right?
people
So-
think that it's like the chamber is 50 people. It's a 50-person staff, but I'm the executive director, and Matt Whelan is the assistant director, and that's the staff.
And they are constantly
It's us.
working.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's us. And Matt's magnificent. When I came in, initially he was the assistant to the director, and I always say I Dwighted him from the office, changed him from assistant to the director to assistant director, because he's a marketing whiz.
And he's very involved in everything.
he
And
is.
he's in a band, too.
He is. I like to call him our house band.
Okay.
Every time I'm like, Matt, we need a band. Where am I going to get a band that will play for nothing?
And they're really
but
good.
They are.
Very
Jimmy's
good.
Shoes and the Magoos. They're magnificent. They're terrific. And then the Jimmy and his sister, the originators of the band, when it's just the two of them. I think their last name is Schusenberg or Schusenfeld. I'm sorry, I forget the. But they call themselves Pair of Shoes.
Oh, that's
And it's
That
like
is so
adorable. So they will play while we're registering people for a restaurant tour. We have live music right there, and
That's
it's
great,
and it's
yeah.
them. And in exchange, because we have a very small budget, so in exchange for not paying them, we send them on the tour. Like, I'll feed you all day. If you could you play for like an hour? Keeps everybody calm.
And plus,
while
they
the
get
line's
new
going.
fans, right?
Yeah,
who,
they do.
Who haven't heard them before.
They
Yeah.
are our. So when I got here, I found out that the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Asbury Park St. Patrick's Day Parade, the chamber has a float in it. I'm like, I have to make a float. I don't know how to make a float. And so our float is the band. We put my husband's got a trailer that they like, one of those landscape trailers, and Jimmy Shoes and Magoo's, they play, and I didn't have to learn how to make anything, and it's they're amazing. They're awesome, and they have the exposure to the Asbury Park market. We've got 10,000-15,000 people come to that parade, and they are really a highlight of it. And Matt, he's right in there.
Yeah.
He's
very talented. I saw them playing at the Christmas, the Chamber Chamber Party. You were at the Christmas party.
Yes.
That was the band.
Oh,
that was my house band.
They were great, right?
They were great.
The Chamber has a house
Our
band.
house
We
band.
had a great time.
Well, it is Asbury.
Yeah, we had a great time.
You don't have a house band? Come on.
What kind of chamber are you?
Yeah, what kind of
Really?
Doesn't everybody have a house band? I mean, come on.
How dare you?
Next time I go into Pastavolo, I'm gonna ask her where the house band.
Where's your house band?
Like, where's the music at?
Snap your fingers, there will be one.
Yeah. Someone's gonna pop in with a guitar.
It is. I'll
You never
tell
know.
what.
Yeah, you never
It could
know.
be Bruce.
Yeah.
That's the other.
Depends.
The other thing is the other tagline, because that's Asbury, which is another website I bought. That's Asbury, because the answer to everything, whether it's a great question or a question, like, oh, the beaches, the restaurants are wonderful. Why is everything so unique here? And the answer is always, that's Asbury. Same thing. You see somebody walking by with a parrot on one shoulder and a piglet under his arm, and it's because that's Asbury. And
That's
nobody bats an eye. It's just the same answer, because
Do people
that's
like
Asbury.
submit photos and stuff, or have you had that kind
You
of engagement?
can't not see things to take pictures of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
we will have people send us photos, and I'll always ask for
that's
permission to
Right,
throw
right.
them up and give a little credit to the photographer. But we get some really great, very cool photos of very eclectic things.
Did
There's
you
a-
have anything to do with the
yes,
4th
if
of
you
July?
liked it, and no if you didn't.
The 4th of
Good answer.
July fireworks.
Oh, the 4th of July fireworks. That actually, and that's interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. I was just talking about
And it's
that the
coming
other
up.
day. It is on the 4th. Asbury's are always scheduled for the 4th.
It was ridiculously
they-
good. It was
they
long
last
and,
year,
and
The
awesome.
best
Nice.
I'd ever seen. Now,
I
a lot
know,
of people
right?
think that a city is always the sponsor of fireworks, but that's taxpayer dollars. You can't often. You have to
Right.
usually get a sponsor or fundraise towards it.
Yeah.
In Asbury Park, we have iStar, which is the company that built the Asbury Hotel, which had
Okay.
been the first hotel in Asbury to be built in 50 years, and then the next year it was named best hotel in the country.
Wow.
They
And that was the old Salvation Army building,
Yes,
right?
and that's they have. Thank you. You're so good. They have a club there called Salvation as a nod to the Salvation Army. They also the Asbury Ocean Club, which just did the grand opening yesterday. That's their developer, and that's their building as well. And they work with Salt Hotels doing the management of these things, and they pay for the entire fireworks
Really?
That's
display.
great.
And nobody really knows that. They don't. So I was speaking with some of the folks over there at iStar, and I said, you know something, I really hope that if I can do anything, I can just get a little bit of acknowledgement to you guys for doing this, because they bring such joy to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is a one community thing. Everybody is on that boardwalk, or you can sit any place and see them, and they are fireworks like you can't even see in New York.
They're amazing.
They were
Unbelievable,
amazing
top-notch.
last year.
And they do it
and
without any expectation of thanks or
Recognition,
even
yeah.
no and except for me and my big mouth.
Ah,
I'm
well,
like,
now people
Well,
know.
now
Our
people
listeners
know.
know.
Yeah.
They like had 2 double finales or something.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the longest finales I've ever
Just
seen. It
beautiful.
was just.
I
it
think
was,
it's
like,
great that they work
really,
with Salt
really,
too,
really
because
cool.
Salt does so much for the community and hiring talent
hire
and
local.
having local and training
what is
them.
Salt?
And yeah,
That's the Salt Hotels. That's the management company that manages the properties that iStar builds. They have it's a real synergy between the two, and it's I was fortunate enough to see the tour of the new building yesterday, and just the nod that they pay to authentic Asbury Park. Like, it's a very serene, very cool, chill, but awesome, amazing. I called my husband. I'm like, you think maybe? And he's like, yeah, I think maybe not.
I know.
Keep walking.
Yeah, keep walking, sweetheart. We live like 4 minutes from there.
Find the exit.
You're sleeping at
Take
home.
pictures.
But they opened the Asbury Hotel, and they didn't put a restaurant in it because they didn't want to compete with the local restaurants. So they said, we'll have the guests, they'll come here, but they'll come to you for dining.
That's
and,
a great
and
partnership.
shopping. And they made the lobby a place where you can just come and hang. Like, nobody comes and says, excuse me, are you waiting for somebody? You just come. Marilyn Schlossback, she is the owner of Langosta Lounge and Pop's Garage, and she's another fascinating woman. Born and raised in Asbury, went to Asbury schools. Her kids go to school in Asbury. She has partnered with Interfaith Neighbors. Have you seen Kula Cafe? Kula Cafe
Springwood.
is on Springwood. That's a program that Marilyn started with Interfaith Neighbors, who owns the building in collaboration. Again, everything there is a tapestry with the city, and that's where my office is, in that building. So the program that the Kula Cafe is, they teach local residents front of house skills, and I think it's about a 10 or 12 week program where they teach them food service, how to use the register, customer engagement, how to cook. They have a magnificent chef there that is their mentor, if they're inclined to want to cook. But these are skills that if you can get them, if you can get some kind of experience in them, they are upwardly mobile jobs. And we're better than Asbury to have restaurant skills. So after a person graduates from this program, they place them in restaurants locally and pay
It's
their
really
salary
great, yeah.
for a number of weeks. And the hope is that either they will get hired there, but even if they don't, they now have a resume and experience, and it's unbelievable. And you can see, and I bring people, I have all my meetings there, and because it's close, the food's great, it's not expensive, and I can always park there. And so you'll see the student, and these are young adults, you'll see the student at the beginning of their education, and that they're not maybe engaging or eye contact, and then you come back 6-8 weeks into it, and it's an entirely different now employee.
That's
so
great.
that program that Marilyn that she spearheaded, that is another thing that, like I said, Asbury Park is
that's so interesting.
She owns restaurants, and she travels the world saving the environment, and she is unbelievable. Like, I don't use balloons ever anymore because I learned what latex balloons can do, and I don't use straws. And I learned all of that from Marilyn.
That's
While
great.
she's got these fantastic restaurants, she's also got I don't know where she gets the energy, but to do all of these things and help the community.
My wife
That's
talks about her all the
fantastic.
time because my wife's a teacher at the Academy Charter High School
Oh, is that right?
in Belmar. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And they have it's like a charter school for Asbury Park, Asbury, Neptune, and Belmar and stuff. So a lot of the kids from Asbury, she's taught like families and generations of kids out of Asbury. And Marilyn she always talks about how she used to bring and come and get the kids to go into that program back when she first started it. Yeah.
Yep, she's unbelievable, and they've got the urban farm right there. They do farm to table. She has been she's a celebrity, even though if you say that to her, I'm not a celebrity. She's been a celebrity chef at farm to table dinners right there in the urban farm greenhouse.
Wow.
It's really, it's
I'd like to try that.
Yeah,
Farm to table,
I think
yeah.
that we're gonna do one.
Oh,
I spoke
nice.
with her, and she said she would be happy to be a chef for one of ours.
Oh, great.
So I figured we'll partner with Interfaith, and there's so many great charities. That
I
would
know,
love to
so
raise money,
many.
so
And
we're doing-
that's
this is
another
work
great
talk
thing.
Now. Now we're just having a meeting.
Don't
And we
worry
just-
about us.
oh,
We're
I'm
just
sorry,
over here,
I
you
forgot
know.
you guys
We're just
were-
over-
But it's all about the chamber, though. So it's still about the chambers.
And
Yeah.
our new program, Third Thursdays, we used to have a first Saturday program where we promoted coming into Asbury for special events on Saturdays. But we're Saturdays are great. Everybody is aware and it's
Yeah.
bustling. But we figured, you know what? Let's look at a day during the week that is maybe easier to get into town, or extend your weekend. And everybody says the weekend's too short, so only in Asbury could you figure out how to make it longer.
Yeah.
And so now the third Thursday of every month, we were planning things with the local merchants.
That is awesome.
Yep.
I remember
Art
first
walk.
Saturdays
Yep.
when Asbury wasn't that
Right,
popular.
and that's what it was for. And
out of
now-
nowhere on a Saturday, Asbury would come to life.
concert, yeah.
And you're like, whoa, where these? I don't
Yeah.
even. I
great
was
to
wondering
see,
how did
right?
this shop stay in business? The other 3 Saturdays, but
All right.
but I mean that was a different. That was like
Right.
the beginning of it all.
Yep. And
Those
so
first
always
Saturdays were
changing
awesome.
and growing, and now it's
Meeting
Thursday
different
nights.
needs. And,
Now first Saturday,
that's the good
you
thing.
can't get in
all
there on
Saturdays,
Friday.
Yep.
It's all
Fridays,
Saturdays. Yeah.
Saturdays are, thankfully, bustling and popular. And Thursday's a great night too. I love to go out on Thursday
know,
night.
so we
And
got-
check out all the different
So,
events that
yeah.
every different
Yep.
third Thursday. There's something else going on, like
It's going to
poetry.
be a poetry
or-
walk, an art walk, or crawl. I think first I was naming everything crawl, and then I changed it to walk, trying
You're
to
thinking
mix it
bar
up.
crawl.
So each one of the we can do that any night. Each one of the venues that wants to, they'll have either a poet or we'll do storytelling, and you don't even know this yet, but we just met yesterday with a fellow. We're going to do a classic car third
Oh,
Thursday in
nice.
September, where people will promote this classic car show and then
Nice.
bring back the circuit.
Oh, my
Because
God.
Everybody's been asking,
Yeah.
like, you got to bring back the circuit. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do it in the summer because last thing I need to do is bring
More.
traffic. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
promote coming in by like mass transit and using bikes and the new scooter program.
There's lots of
There's lots of
options.
options to get there.
Lots,
Uber, just like. So I'm
Lyft,
not bringing
Uber.
in
Oh,
50
they
more
implemented
cars.
the scooters?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
coming.
yes.
Yep,
They're
that's
coming.
coming now.
Oh,
Yep. The
my
next
goodness.
thing
They
is
have
we're
that in
going to have those.
Baltimore.
They have them in Baltimore that you just drop
Just
it wherever
Yeah,
you.
those-
Drop it
Where
wherever you
ours
go.
are going to
yeah.
have stations where
Right.
you put them back because if you just drop them, you're like
Yeah.
in the street.
Could be a trip
Or
hazard
I
or
drop one,
something.
somebody picks it up and tosses it in the street, and the car is going. I'm like, no, don't do that to me.
Right.
So there will be stations,
Like
but
the
that's the
bikes.
next thing,
Well, that's
like our
good,
bike
though.
share program.
Because it'll keep
Yep.
everything local too.
Yep.
They'll be in circulation. So
You can just
Plus, you can go to the beach, then you can come to the Cookman, you can go to bank, you can go all over,
Right.
not worry about moving
without
your car.
bringing your
Yeah.
car in, without trying to move it from one spot to another.
And it's exercise.
I'll do
Added
Uber.
benefit.
I'll do the scooter. The scooter's it's like this
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
exercise,
exactly.
just the
Well, it's fresh
Yeah.
air.
the bike program. There's exercise.
There you go.
Well, we have to wrap this up, but one
was
thing
fun.
that we want to ask is, what is one of your favorite memories of the Jersey Shore?
Oh, Lord. Oh, geez.
great question.
That's a big question. Again, I grew up at the Jersey Shore in Long Branch, and I'm going to say, while I certainly love Asbury Park right now, and I just don't consider now my memories right now is it's my life. But as a kid, my dad. My dad was here from Cuba, and his English wasn't always. Actually, it was never. 7 different languages he spoke, but
Wow.
all at the same time. And he would bring me to Asbury every weekend, and we'd walk out the door, and he would yell to my mom, Philly, bring the girl to Azabruza Park. So I had no idea
Azabruza Park?
that it wasn't Azabruza Park. Like, I always thought that it was Azabruza Park. And we would we'd come into town, and there was the carousel, the merry-go-round, and always on the carousel trying to grab literally like the brass rings.
Uh-huh.
My dad was a jockey. I was never going to be taller than 5 feet. And as a kid, I was like, barely 24 inches, I think, when I graduated high school. So, of course, I never could get one. But I tried that every week. And one week there was a man and he was a really tall fella. And he said that he had seen me and my dad there every week. And he had gotten the brass ring and gave it to me.
Oh, how nice is that?
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's a great memory.
That was great.
That is a great memory.
And I like the how do you say
Azabruza Park.
Azabruza Park. I like
Azabruza
that.
Park.
That could be a thing.
Yeah, that's another
That's
website.
There you go.
Another website.
I spend so much time on GoDaddy buying website names. Like, my daughter's like, stop it.
Yeah,
I
no.
heard this word, Jeremy Beremy. I went right online and bought it.
Oh, God, that's so.
Jeremy Beremy. I don't even know what that means.
I didn't know you could buy that stuff.
Yeah.
You can buy whatever
I
is
own
available,
tons
yeah.
of them. You know who owns greetingsfromasburypark.org?
You?
I do. I do.
That's
Personally, I went in there and bought it because I don't want to waste all the chamber money. So, but I
That's
use
funny.
it for the chamber. So I'm like,
Well,
does nobody own this?
yeah.
Well, since you own every website, how do you want people to follow you, find you?
Oh, please find us. Go look at our website. Is you can go under so many website names because I own them all. Love Asbury is one. You can go to greetingsfromasburypark.org and find us. Sign up on our email distribution. You'll get emails about everything that's going on. We have a calendar on there. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and also on Instagram. When you see all the really cool pictures on our Instagram, know that I took none of them. That I am notorious for bad pictures, but you can find us on all social media platforms. And
Yeah, I think that's at Love Asbury Park.
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, check it out. There's a lot of good stuff on there, and the chamber Facebook, our chamber website has great current events,
Yeah.
networking, a lot of things that are going on in Asbury that
Ton
you
of
can see
events.
on there.
Pretty much
yeah.
every day there's something going on.
Yeah.
in Asbury.
Yeah.
There's so much going on every day. Each day is a whole big list. You can just find whatever it is you're looking to do. Or another great thing to do is nothing. Like, come there, sit on the boardwalk, and just people watch. It's the best place to
Yeah.
people watch.
That is.
It really
Nice.
is.
And if you're looking for a business, if you go to AsburyParkChamber.com, every business that's associated with the chamber is listed.
Yep.
And so they're in alphabetical order, and you can just go through and you can find, a place that you want to go.
Thank you,
And
yeah.
it has links to their business and their phone numbers and addresses as well.
Absolutely. And we've got, you can sort it anyway. We have it by location in town or by restaurant or
right.
hotel, or you can
Yes, you
sort
do.
no matter
Yes,
what
you
you
do.
want. And if you can't figure out how to sort it, call me. 732-775-7676. Matt and I will be happy to tell you everything we know.
Even where to find parking.
Excellent.
Where absolutely, and,
Even where
and
Bruce is
where Bruce
this week-
is,
this
where to find
weekend?
parking. I can't pay your parking ticket, but yeah, sometimes actually I have done a couple.
You gave them wrong direction.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank
for
you so much
having
for
me.
your
Appreciate
time
you being on
today.
our
Fun.
Yeah.
inaugural show. This is a
thank you.
huge deal,
Yes,
and I
I-
think this is a great way to start Boardwalk Talk.
I
Right.
really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I even realized today that it was visual.
Ah,
You know, I was
You
thinking,
got cute-
I've got
cute up.
the face for radio.
there you go.
Not so much for video.
Oh,
but
yes,
thank
you do.
You
Right?
got a great.
Yes.
Sell
Thank
yourself
you so
short.
Thank
much.
you.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
All right.